Hello. Hello, and welcome to our last town hall of the year. My name is Tim Hobson, lay leader at First United Methodist Church Plano. Welcome to those who are here in person and to those who are online. If you are joining us online, I would ask you to go ahead and submit any questions that you have in the chat ahead of time, because that does take a little bit of time to come through, so we can get those processed into the room here, that we can answer your questions as well. For those here in person, we do have a floor mic, so when we get to the Q&A part, it's there for your use if you have any questions for us. With that, we'll go ahead and get started with a quick prayer. So if you'll bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, thank you for being with us as we gather in your presence. God, we thank you for the community of this church. We thank you for the opportunities of missions to go out and serve you as we celebrate our Mission Together Sunday today. God, we are so thankful that we get the opportunity to be in mission in your Son's name, Jesus. And it's in his name we pray. Amen. With that, we'll go ahead and get started with our missions. So, Leslie?
All right. Did y'all have fun this morning? Oh, come on. It wasn't that bad. Let's do it. Did y'all have fun this morning? Yeah. Good. So I wanted to give y'all an idea of the impact we had on our event, our Mission Together event. We had about between 130 to 150 people complete 9 projects. We wrapped a truckload of baby presents for a shelter at Hope Store domestic violence shelter who is due in December and had nothing. We made 115 teacher appreciation bags for Dooley Elementary and our weekday program teachers. We wrote 50 thank you cards. For Reach Out Honduras staff with messages in Spanish, and none of these ladies, I think, spoke Spanish, so they did very good at writing out rather long messages in Spanish. We assembled a total of 100 food and 72 hygiene kits for those experiencing homelessness that are going to be distributed by People Who Love People and Hope Restored Missions. And we also assembled 66 sandwiches and donated 48 breakfast burritos, so they'll have a hot breakfast in the morning. The confirmands decorated 70 sack lunch bags with Bible verses and messages that the Salvation Army in Dallas is going to fill with their lunches they distribute every day. So it'll be not just a blank bag, but it'll have a message on it. We colored about 30 Kairos placemats, had a lot of participation in that activity. It's always a favorite that is used in the Kairos prison ministry meals. The youth assembled over 400 care packs for Collin College students that had all kinds of goodies and a stress ball and a flyer about our upcoming events, and then they went over to the college and hung them on all the apartment doors. So we're hoping that they will now be aware of our church and maybe drop in, and we hope to do that again because it takes a few times, you know. And then after all this, we had a small but mighty team of folks that went over to Agape House. That's a program for women and children, and helped do some cleaning. And I understand that's a tip of an iceberg, and that team's ready to go back and maybe have some other people join you to continue working on all the stuff that needs to be done to their property. So thank y'all so much. It's an amazing congregation. Y'all responded phenomenally, and God is really working through y'all, so give yourself a hand. So I'll just quickly run through everything else we did this past quarter and upcoming stuff. We helped God's Pantry move out of their building. We had a yard sale, which brought the community in, raised over $1,000 for missions. We hosted an amazing race event, which was going to be a fundraiser for missions. It brought in some community members, not as many as we had hoped, but it was a really fun team building event. I think everybody who participated really enjoyed it. We had members attend the Reach Out Honduras Gala for their annual fundraiser to support them. We supported Family Promise with meals and gas cards. We formed 2 new partnerships with additional elementary schools, Dooley and Hickey, and we met with the PISD department that supports the children that are experiencing homelessness, and we're learning how we can work with them to fill in the gaps where they don't have resources for those families. We launched the 2020 campaign, which is a kind of mini version of what we did out here this morning. Once a month, we do a meal packing or hygiene kit packing from one of the organizations. So those are going to be advertised. We had a blood drive that yielded 25 units and 3 double reds, so that exceeded the expectations. We supported a Ukrainian family that resettled here. And we formed a community partners group with other churches in the area that will, we hope to coordinate on initiatives like People Who Love People to instead of people trying to replicate things, we're working together to do the good. And when I say we, that's all of us. That's not like a team of 10 or 15 people. This is like all of y'all, the whole congregation. You're just amazing. Wellspring's now a 501c3, so they're not directly in our purview, but they do report back and let us know, what they're doing and what they need, and they said they have an increase in activity and number of clients, so they're doing well. So upcoming, next Saturday here at the church, we're going to have a concert. It's really a Hope Restored Missions concert. They're just using our facility. It's a dinner and a concert, and they're selling tickets, and your ticket also buys participation by one of their unsheltered clients that they serve. So that's next Saturday night. We have Hope for the Holidays. You'll see Ruth Roberson out there and Dave with the families that need to be adopted for the holidays. So check out their Sunday tables. We have another blood drive December 4th. And then Mission Market, December 10th. So put that on your calendar. Actually, it's December 9th. And it's 2 days. It's Saturday and Sunday. And we're going to be opening in the evening again because that's the Christmas pops. So we'll hope to get a lot of community traffic from that. Bill Downs' PX ministry is ongoing, and he wants to get the communication out that if y'all have any service members that you'd like them to receive the care packages, please contact Bill and give them their information. He'll make sure they get it back. And just last but not least, a huge thank you to the congregation for the amazing distribution of funds from the Balloon Festival parking. That is really a game changer for missions, and we've had a dream meeting to figure out, start laying the plans for going forward and how we can really make a significant contribution from that. So thank y'all so much. If anybody's interested in getting more involved in missions or missions leadership, please email Stacy or me or Debbie. We got plenty of opportunities. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Leslie. Now we're going to go to children and youth, and I'll invite Sarah Bush Henson to come up and speak about that.
Hello, yes, so I am Sarah. Normally I don't make the town hall because I'm still with the youth, so it's my turn to report on behalf of the youth and children. So since the last time we gathered for town hall, we have been in full swing with our regular programming with youth and children, with Sunday morning and Sunday evening youth choir, youth band, as well as our confirmation class started this fall, and we've been doing a Wednesday night Bible study with the youth. We've also, on Sunday evenings, had Sunday school classes sign up, and I know a lot of you have participated in that. The Sunday school classes have signed up and served our youth dinner, which we are very, very grateful for. It's a good way for the youth to see other members of the church serving them, and for the other members to see what the youth are up to on Sunday evenings, so we're very grateful for that. The youth have also had a few fundraisers that we've had this semester, including at the Plano Balloon Festival, we helped with parking, as well as sold concessions, water bottles, and glow sticks, and that'll all go towards youth missions and youth scholarships. And then we also had our Audition for a Mission in October, where we ate lunch together and raised money for youth missions. And we've had a lot of fun events. We took our youth to the North Texas escape rooms for a night of team building. Our children and youth continue to work together for the fourth Sunday of the month doing missions. The youth do second and fourth Sunday missions, and the children join us on the fourth Sunday, and we've done a whole variety of missions on those Sundays. And it's been a wonderful chance for the children and the youth to come together and work together. The children are also enjoying children's music that is being led every week by Sydney Anderson. And our youth band has grown, and they practice and perform every Sunday evening for our youth group. Trunk or Treat was a huge success. Thank you for everyone who came and participated in that. Thank you to everyone who brought candy and had trunks. And we're just warm, welcoming faces as we showed hospitality to our neighbors. We believe that we hosted about 400 families with around 1,000 to 1,500 people in attendance. Marty and I also attended an event hosted by the Conference for Youth and Children, which included Leanne Hadley's A Time for Children, and Marty is working on incorporating this into the children's ministry programming. And so a few events going forward for the youth we are doing in December. On December 2nd, we're doing a parents' night out where the youth will watch children for a few hours as a way to engage our weekday program families, raise a little bit of money for summer missions, and then the youth will get to have a lock-in afterwards. So it's a win-win. And then we have our progressive dinner on December 4th. And then next semester, we are going to be hosting a Wonderfully Made weekend, which is formerly known as Created by God, which is for 5th, 6th, and 7th graders. And then the youth will also be attending Midwinter at Bridgeport in January.
I just want to say real quick, because I was just kind of doing some number crunching in my head. Between Leslie, your numbers and what you reported in missions and what it sounds like youth has been doing and children has been doing lately, we're talking thousands of lives that we're touching here and impacting our community. So I just want to say a big amen to that. Chase?
All right, hello everyone. I am Chase Koska. I am the chair of the Finance Committee. I'm going to give a brief update here on where we stand. These numbers are going to be as of the end of October. So as of the end of October, year-to-date budgeted giving, we expected to receive $1,341,000. Actual giving was $1,314,000. So pledges and giving are under expectation by about $27,000. We'll say the year-to-date special offering and other income is kind of making up for that. So building use. That is to the tune of, we received about $173,000 in that. So our income through the end of October, income being both giving and building use, is $1,487,000. And we were under budget on that number by about $9,300. That's what we expected to receive by the end of October. Forgive me, raspy voice. Cold front. Going on to the expenses, year-to-date budgeted expenses, we expected to have $1,626,000 in expenses. However, our actual year-to-date expenses are much, let's say about $22,000 higher, $1,648,000. So we're $22,122 over budget on our expenses, and that is mostly attributed to deferred maintenance issues throughout the building, be it flooring or roof or plumbing issues, locks on some of the doors, things that we didn't really anticipate happening this year. But if we didn't go ahead and take care of the issue and make the expense now, they'd be long-term massive restoration issues potentially. So we had to go ahead and take care of them now. If you'll recall, at the beginning of the year, we explained that we were doing a faith-based deficit budget this year to the tune of negative $82,000 by the end of the year, unless we found other sources of income or the congregation stepped up their tithing and gifts. As of the end of October, we're actually at a negative $160,000 in our budget. With any budget, there's going to be ebbs and flows in expenses and income. We actually expected to be at a negative $129,000 as of the end of October. Again, more expenses for things that were unforeseen. But I will say that 20 to 25% of our income for the entire year comes in the last 2 months of the year. So there's a high probability that number will shore up to some degree. More good news, we do have reserves. We still have the PPP loan. We haven't done anything with that money since we received it in 2020. That's about $140,000. More good news is the early calculations and tallying of our pledging drive for next year is looking good. I don't have an actual number for you because things are still trickling in, and it's kind of hard to compare year on year when you receive more in 1 week versus another. Anyway, we'll get that number to you later, but those are looking good early on so far. I would encourage everyone here that is either behind on their pledging gifts that they set last year for 2022 to go ahead and, I would say, prayerfully consider giving money now and updating your pledge number if you are considering giving a Christmas offering. Again, the sooner the better on that, so I appreciate it. And I'll give it back to Tim.
Thanks, Chase. Thank you. Next, we're going to go with SPRC, so Pam Rossman.
Hello, Pam Rossman. I'm the chair of the SPRC, and just wanted to give you kind of what's been going on. We are at a very busy point of the year because we have the end-of-year charge conference reports that we're required to submit by December 15th, so we're working on that. In addition, we're working with the staff on all the staff evaluations and Matt's marks of fruitfulness, so it's just a very busy time, but all is well. I did want to add on to Chase what he said. SBRC has probably the largest budget because we do carry all the staff costs. So just wanted to make sure everybody remembers that. And again, if you haven't gotten to your pledge number for 2022, please do so because we want to keep all of our staff. So speaking of staff, we have, I don't know if this was covered last time or not, but I don't want to be remiss. Gail Landis is one of our newest members. Gail's in the back. Gail is retired and a retired elder from the North Texas Conference. But after she retired, she felt the call to come back to the ministry. So Gail joined us. She is blessed to have, I think, 3 adult children and 2 grandchildren. Is that right? Yeah. That just, I think, like any grandparent, they make our world go around. Anyway, if you didn't notice, I noticed it was on today's announcements too, that Gail is leading the Advent study exploring the messages of the angels in the nativity stories. That's going to start November 27th at 6:30 p.m. And if you have not yet done so, please register for that. So. Another new member is Ephraim Natanga in the back. He is our AV coordinator, and we are so thankful to have Ephraim too. I remember Matt was telling me one day he literally had every wire and cord that's attached to that sound booth strung all the way out so he could get it all cleared up. So we really do appreciate your efforts, Ephraim. He did graduate from North Texas, University of North Texas, studying construction engineering, business administration, and technical communications. So we thank you for that. The last person I believe that we brought on board was Doug Gray. And he is our facilities manager, whereby he oversees this building, which I think is over 100,000 square feet and 27 acres of land. He works with the Yardbirds and does all kinds of things to make sure that this facility and the grounds stay in great shape. He is a graduate of Stephen F. Austin and has experience in construction and project management. So we just want to make sure we welcome Doug and make sure he feels that we're very thankful for him. So other than that, I think that's all I have. Who gets it next?
We're going to hand it over to Keith Landau, our chair of church council. But before we do that, I do want to say a big thank you to Pam and to all my fellow leads up here for the job they've done this year. Let's give them a round of applause for their leadership.
Ephraim, don't worry about the charts that I put together. I put together about 50 charts for this evening, and I see a few people are getting a little tired after the Thanksgiving meal, so I want to keep it a little shorter than previously planned. I'm Keith Landau, and I've had the honor of serving as a church council chair for the last several years. There's 2 things I want to give you an update on today. The first one is the investigation or the evaluation of potentially selling some of our land to a developer. That work is still going on. As you would expect, things move slowly. Our broker is engaged with 3 potential builders. We have pivoted from where we started. Where we started, we were looking at homes for rent in a master developed community of somewhere around 120 homes. And now we're looking at homes for sale on smaller sized lots, but homes for sale versus for rent. We have 3 builders. 2 of them we've been engaged with for a while. David Weekly Homes, which I've been in Plano for the better part of 40 years, and he's been here at least that long. And Genadier Homes is another builder that are looking at building homes for sale on approximately 13 acres of our land. A new one has come in the last week. The first 2 would require some zoning changes. I think from our previous conversations, if you've been here, you realize that we are zoned SF9, which is single-family homes. And for the first 2 builders and for the first engagement for homes for rent, we would have needed a zoning variance from the Plano Planning and Zoning and City Council. The engagement we've had with that said it was going to be a little bit difficult. That's why we pivoted away from homes for rent to homes for sale. This third builder, which I don't want to name as of yet, is looking at a potential development that would not require any zoning changes. And so, you know, we've always been looking at 2 things at a very high level with this opportunity. One is, can we secure net enough money at the end of the sale and after moving a parking lot from the west side of our building to the east side of our building, but can we secure enough money that would make it worth our while to do that? In that, you know, our kind of high level goal has always been to get us within 1 capital campaign of paying off our debt in its entirety. We're sitting at around $3.5 million worth of debt. So if you think about a capital campaign of say $1 million, $1.5 million, we're talking about that we would at least want to, you know, pay down $2 million of debt if we were to sell some of this land for development. The second piece would be that we could actually get it done. You know, can we find a builder that would be suitable as our neighbors, as part of our mission, but also to the homeowners that live kind of to the west of us, the northwest, would they be happy with the buildings that we'd put next to us and go forward? And so those are still the 2 high-level criteria. We have not changed our position. We will bring this to a church-wide vote once we get to a place that it would require a church-wide vote. Where we are today is we're still engaging with our broker and the development companies. We do not have anything that has gone to planning and zoning, though there has been real conversations about what it would take to get accepted and approved. And the builders have been engaging the homeowners association next to us just to say, hey, here's what we're looking at. What would make us good neighbors and what would you find to be most acceptable? I'll cap this off by saying, if we're able to get this done, you're still looking at likely a couple years before dirt actually gets moved. So it's not like we would sign papers in December and then January, you know, the parking lot would be torn up. We're talking about that the way the city works and everything else, it would be probably, you know, 3 to 6 months to get all the approvals and plans in place. And then by the time they schedule it with other work they've got going on, you know, it's anywhere from another 6 months to a year. And again, nobody can give you a definite answer because everything changes and moves depending on what else is going on. But that's kind of the time frame. So just wanted to give you an update. This will continue into 2023. And if we find that we can't get a deal that makes sense for First Church and for developers and for our neighbors, then we'll put this to bed for a while and we'll look at, you know, other opportunities or other options. But we still are committed to bring this to a church-wide vote when it makes sense. The second thing I wanted to give you a heads up on is I think there's not a person in the Methodist Church that's not aware that we've had a couple high-profile churches disaffiliate or plan to disaffiliate with the United Methodist Church. Our church council held 14 small group sessions to have discussions with our congregation. It started first with the church council. We wanted to have a conversation and say, where do we stand? And quite honestly, I was a little bit nervous because I think I know, who I worship with and who I serve next to and who I've known for years. But until you have these kind of harder conversations, you don't ever really know. We went through the youth, we went through the choir, we had video and Zoom meets, we had one-on-ones with Sunday school classes and the likes, and we've held 14 in total. And the purpose of the meetings were really twofold. One is to answer any questions people might have had with St. Andrew UMC's decision to disaffiliate with the United Methodist Church. We didn't have all the answers. I don't know that St. Andrew has all the answers, quite honestly. But it was also a time to share and to voice, kind of concerns that exist. It is losing part of our family. And that's never easy, and we wanted to have the opportunity to engage our congregation so they felt that they had a forum to kind of express, their concerns or ask their questions. The second part was we left the first meeting with the church council unanimous in our, after lengthy discussions and personal stories, we left that meeting with unanimous feelings that, we're proud to be United Methodists. We feel that, this will be a time for rebirth and, hopefully a time for regrowth, that there will be some things that will let us maybe become more nimble and better focused going forward. And we wanted to give, our congregation an opportunity if there was any people or families that felt that, First Church really shouldn't be part of the United Methodist Church. And I'm proud to say that we didn't have a single person voice that in the 14 meetings that we had. And I would say that to a person, while there was concerns and questions, as there always are, about, the biggest question was, well, when will the Book of Discipline be updated? And we don't know. It will be a priority, I'm sure of that. In 2024, the next General Conference, I think there's going to be enough work to be done that it probably doesn't get done at that conference. But I'm sure it's going to be a priority to address the changes in the Book of Discipline for the United Methodist Church going forward. But we really wanted to have those conversations and be able to engage our congregations. One of the things that, I personally felt bad about is that it seemed like St. Andrews did not really engage their congregation. This is not a minister decision, this is a congregation decision. And we wanted to make sure that we engaged our friends and family to be able to answer any questions that existed for this. So today concludes that. This would be the 15th time we've talked about this topic, and I'll be happy to answer questions when we come to the Q&A section of this. But we really, I don't know how many people we touched, but I would bet you it was a couple hundred. And I felt that we had a real good engagement, and I really appreciate the support of the people from the church council who went kind of 2 by 2 to different groups and to talk to our congregation, our families about their concerns. So that's really all I have to update with you with tonight.
Thank you, Keith. Ooh, hot mic. With that, we will go ahead and move on to our question and answer part of the meeting. So if you're here in the room with us, I invite you to come to the floor mic, introduce yourself, and if you have a question, please ask it. We'll direct it to the right person that's up here. If you're online, hopefully you've had a chance to submit your questions online to us. And with that, I will open the floor. Any questions here in person? Man, you guys are good. Jill's not here, so I don't know. There might be. He was asking if there's any pumpkin pie left from our dinner tonight, so I told him to check with Jill. Ephraim, do we have any questions online? Nope. I'm going to give y'all an awkward 10 seconds if anyone changes their mind if they want to ask a question. Otherwise, I'm going to close the meeting. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and close the meeting. Thank you so much for being here. We will put out a schedule for next year's town halls once we have that available so that you can know when those are going to happen and that you can come and join us for those. So thank you very much for coming.